All right. Hello, everyone. We're back with Cash of Capital. It's end of the year 2025. So today we'll be ranking the Magnificent Seven stocks for 2025. So that's what we got. What you got?
Hey everybody, we are in that limbo land between Christmas holiday or whatever holiday you celebrate and the new year. It's been a very interesting trading and investing year. AI has made it on the scene and it's going to make for a very interesting 2026. We'll let you guys know our plan going in. We'll kind of recap what the big boys did, the Magnificent Seven, but there were a lot of stocks, more than the Magnificent Seven, that kind of went off this year, kind of came back in the fourth quarter. But AI is here to stay, guys. I don't think it's a bubble. A lot of these companies have already pledged billions of dollars for AI next year, so it's not going to stop. But this was the year for AI in a nutshell. This was the year for AI, and also with the Genius Act from the president, this is the year for digital assets, tokenization, things like that. And even though Bitcoin's not doing well, this world is changing and digitization is taking off. So you can either get in now or you're going to be left behind. So another theme is precious metals. I mean, look what silver and gold are doing. Usually silver and gold, they, they'll spike for 10 years and then they'll stay sort of just calm for years, won't make many moves. But now you see, like, with the moves China's making with silver and sort of hoarding silver, you need regulation to get it. Silver, we ain't never seen silver doing this type of stuff that it's doing. We always talk about gold. We don't never talk about silver. But I've been watching a lot of documentaries on silver, how it's made. Very interesting. And a lot of things going on for next year. What you got, son?
Yeah, I won't be surprised to see this AI trade continue next year. Also the bull run continue next year. But we're gonna get into our tier list. All right, so this is our tier list. So we got S tier, which is the top tier, which is the cash tier. Then we get A tier right below that, which is excellent. B tier, which is solid. C tier, which is average, and then D tier all the way at the bottom, which is terrible. And then we were ranking each company based on their performance this year. And the Magnificent Seven for everybody out there are the seven, dominant AI stocks that make up, most of the indices nowadays. So that's what that is.
Cool. You gonna go first, son?
Yeah, we're gonna go first.
All right. You said we or you?
Yeah, I'm gonna go first. I mean, you could chip in too, but first we got Google at S tier. This is a company that I own my portfolio, so I'm gonna talk about it a little bit. Probably, yeah, definitely the best performer out of the Magnificent Seven. One of the best performers in the stock market altogether. I'll bring it up in a second. Yeah, so Google year to date is up 65%. And even if you bought it around the April lows, around Liberation Day, around like 150, 160, you'll be up closer to 70, 80%. So definitely a great year for Google. They pretty much done everything right. I mean, the antitrust, getting over that was a big thing for them. Search continue to grow. Gemini's been going strong. The cloud business has been going. So pretty much this performance is an amalgamation, of multiple things. But I think Google is also a good company to hold into 2026. If you're still looking to get the AI trade, you're getting exposure to a lot of things, like I just said, rather than like some other companies and AI trade are just on one trick ponies. But yeah, that's what I got to say about Google.
Google, it you know, it was kind of a laggard all year, and then it just took off with that antitrust lawsuit getting settled, and with Google Gemini 3.0, that we now know is taking market share from ChatGPT. So Google has emerged as a strong player in AI. They couple other highlights. So, not only AI, but also we didn't talk a lot about quantum computing, but Google's obviously in the forefront of quantum computing as well with this Quantum Echoes program. Incredible. Google's a winner. Only problem with Google now is I think it's fair valued, and it's made such a big move. I can't anticipate. I don't think I'll anticipate. I don't think anybody anticipates a move. It could, we don't know, but another 65% move because it's moved so much. But it's definitely something I know a lot of people are that people who already made money in Google are not selling. So if anything, you're gonna want to be adding to Google and just holding it because they are a dominant force in the AI platform.
Yeah, 100%. Moving on, video, you wanna talk about that?
I mean, what is not to say about NVIDIA? You know, everybody needs NVIDIA chips, as we know. NVIDIA had a big year with AI. You know, we know that the government is backing NVIDIA to be an AI superpower here in the United States, and all of its strength is with no China exposure at all. Imagine if they sold anything to China, they would be skyrocketing. And then I was reading also that they invested heavily in Intel in the United States. So they got like a $5 billion stake there. You know, Nvidia is just, like Jim Cramer said, is one of those things you own and you don't trade. You just keep adding to it. Just one of the great American companies of all time.
Where do you rank it?
I'd have to think about that, just a little bit more thought, but Nvidia, you know, if you think about like Apple, if you think about Amazon, if you think about Google, you think about Nvidia, Tesla, just off the top of the head, those are just some incredible companies, man. I'd have to look at some more stuff. I did some research saying that Monster Energy drink is like the best stock for the last 20 years. So, I mean, but that's my take. What you think, son? We're not editing this either. Get it together. What's wrong with
I
you?
think it's good. You gotta give it a rank though. You gotta put it somewhere.
Oh, what rank for what? Nvidia?
Yeah, one of these right here.
Oh, Nvidia for me is S.
Okay.
Yeah, it's at the top.
All right. So that's that.
Oh, I didn't know you meant rank here. I
Yeah,
thought
what do
you
you thought
meant
on that?
like rank all time.
No. All right. Yeah. So that's that. Moving on to Tesla. Tesla, I'm gonna give it a B rank. And we're gonna look at it right now. It's up 12% year to date. Uh, Lagging a little bit behind the broader market, but you could be up a lot more. Same thing with Google or really any of these companies you bought around the April lows. But the thing with Tesla, I think the revenue has slowed down a little bit, and it's a lot of a big bet, on robotics and robo taxi in the future with Tesla. But I do think Tesla could be a big bet for 2026. Something we'll talk about later on. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say about Tesla.
Same thing. I mean, this was a big year for them in terms of the cyber cab, the robo taxi. So also, we heard that Elon Musk said that 80% of his company is based on robots. So, a lot of people are betting big on Tesla. Don't forget, SpaceX is supposed to be coming out as well with an IPO that's close to $1 trillion, I think, 800 billion or something right now. So, don't count him out with that. But Tesla's just one of these companies, man. It's just, it's a polarizing company. A lot of people love it. A lot of people don't like it at all. But I believe he is the future. His vision is incredible. He's always a step ahead. Imagine when he was coming out with his electric cars, everybody must have been looking at him like he was crazy. And now he's the leader in EVs, and it's not even close. Kudos to Tesla. They'll still be innovating. I don't like the stock too much because it's very volatile. We're PE ratio guys. If you look at the PE ratio right there, 313, but the forward PE is much lower, so they're growing into the valuation, which is great. I'm still kind of not a buyer because I think the value is still overvalued. If it comes down to like in the 3 range, I might take a look at it.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Elon Musk, great CEO. I think he's one of them. He's always gonna come through when they need it the most. But yeah, SpaceX IPO definitely highly anticipated 2026. But now we've been moving on.
Yeah, Microsoft, I'll definitely give Microsoft that second tier right in here, the A tier. Microsoft, I mean, they had a really good year, even though the stock has not, sort of gone crazy, but their Azure program is still top notch. And Microsoft is jumped into gaming with their acquisition of Activision Blizzard. So gaming is going to be huge. I like what they're doing there. They're at the forefront of AI, shooting at a high level, a top tier company. So I put them right there in that second category.
Percent. I think Microsoft's also a great stock to hold for 2026 as well. But moving on, we got Amazon, which I'll be putting at a D tier.
Why you put it at the bottom?
Well, we'll be going over that in a second. Yeah, Amazon year to date only up 6%. So the worst performer out of the Mag 7 this year has been a laggard. The big thing with Amazon is revenue is slowing down with their cloud, but they are still the market leader. And especially with Azure Cloud, like my dad just talked about, Google Cloud have been, growing at a fast rate. And yeah, so definitely look to see what Amazon does in the future with their cloud business. Also another big bet on AI. But I will say this: I think Google had like similar sentiment coming into 2025, being like the laggard, and then you see what kind of year they had. So I'll say 2026. I wouldn't be surprised if Amazon ran up a similar amount that Google did this year. So definitely something I'm not saying is going to happen, but definitely a possibility. So definitely keep your eye out for it.
Oh, I definitely disagree with Amazon being on the bottom rung. If you want to put them on the bottom rung because of performance, I say yes. However, I think the problem with Amazon is that they're kind of sometimes packaged in with retail, and retail didn't have a good year because of inflation. But couple highlights for Amazon. AWS Cloud reaccelerated to 20% growth in Q3, reaching 33 billion for the quarter. I mean, guys, that's monstrous. Uh, and it was driven by enterprise demand for generative AI. Their big AI play, even though the stock has not reflected that advertising. They remained a high margin powerhouse, growing at roughly 24% year over year, guys. Advertising juggernaut. So they got the AWS cloud and the advertising. Their AI investment, Amazon spent 125 billion in capex on AI. Okay, and last but not least, their retail efficiency, focusing on regionalization and fulfillment network, which improved North American margins despite a reported 2.5 legal settlements. So you got AWS cloud, advertising, AI investment, and retail efficiency. Guys, this is one of those stocks. Look at the stock price. I'm sorry. And you look at the stock movement and you say year to date, you're like, man, these guys are a laggard. They're at 7%. But this stock, this company is really, really doing well. And they are going to be a pure player. I guarantee that we got them on D. I guarantee, son, they'll be an A or S by the end of the year, next year, 2026.
Yeah, I agree with that. But yeah, we're gonna move on to Apple.
You got nothing to say about Amazon? You put them at the bottom for what you put them on the bottom?
I just said,
Just purely on their
well,
on their on
well,
their
oh,
performance.
we're ranking off performance, but
Yeah.
I think their cloud revenue did reaccelerate, but big reason why it didn't run up as much is because they're slowing down revenue. So when you see revenue slow down and multiples expand, that's not good for the stock. And then other cloud business such as Google Cloud and Azure Cloud have been growing at a faster rate. That's that.
Apple is going to be at the bottom rung for me. Okay. Because Apple, out of all these companies, I really feel like that they are not innovating in terms of AI. They're not spending money on AI. Yes, their product base is strong as heck, and yes, they will be fine in terms of products. But this is a Mag 7 company, man. You're gonna have to get with this AI thing. Now they got a lot of cash. They sitting on a ton of cash that they could go acquire companies and stuff. They even haven't even done that yet. So, I really don't like the execution in terms of Apple. So I'll keep them on the bottom rung. I mean, of course, it's a top tier company. Their products are top tier. I don't own Apple, but I know a lot of people that are part of the Apple cult. But in terms of like AI, which I believe that this chart is about, Apple's bottom of the list, or maybe not even be on the list at all.
Yeah, I agree. I think in terms of innovation, in the Mag 7, Apple probably is at the bottom. But I think the moat is so strong with Apple products that I don't really think it'll be too much of an issue moving forward. So next we got Meta. So I'll put Meta as a C tier, perform a little bit better than Amazon. Yeah, so Meta's up 13% this year. If you bought around the lows like every other company, you would be up, a little bit more than that. But the big thing with Meta is that Zuckerberg is focusing a lot on CapEx spend. So he's not really focused on generating profits for the short term. So I think that's a kind of a big reason why the stock hasn't performed as well as other companies. But I do think it's still a good stock to hold in for next year.
Some highlights for Meta Q3 2025 revenue, 51.25 billion, a 26% increase year over year, which is very impressive for Meta. Ad performance, average price per ad increased by 10% in Q3. So execution, earnings per share, user base, they reached a massive milestone with nearly 3.5 billion DAUs, which is daily active users. That's a huge number, guys. So with that number, advertising, obviously, you have the platform to do that. Um, and I believe they're cheap. They're at a P ratio of 29 with a forward P ratio of 22. So right now, out of all the Mag 7s, I think Meta is actually the cheapest. So definitely a stock that I believe will go to 1,000. My price target for them is 1,000. By June, by the middle of next year.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely a attractive valuation. A good stock for next year as well. But that pretty much wraps up our tier list. Definitely let us know if you agree with it or if we should move some of the companies around. And you got anything else to say about that?
Give us your idea, guys, or your Mag 7. Our next video is going to be our stock picks for 2026. You're not going to want to miss that. This is going to be a very, very, I believe, very volatile year. People are still, a lot of analysts are still calling for a bullish year. And I do believe it'll be bullish, but it won't be as bullish as it's been the last 3 years. So you're going to have to really do some really good stock picking. Okay. That's why we started with these companies, because I think these companies are sort of going to be your safe haven, for the upcoming year, because their revenues, and we believe that there's also going to be some rate cuts, so they'll be at the forefront for execution, and having cash on hand, and their balance sheets are super strong. So that's why they call the Magnificent Seven.
Yeah, 100%. And that's it for this video. We'll see you guys next time.